Hi guys. So my hair is really wet, so it's not greasy, it's just soaked and it's not drying fast enough for me, so I have to video while I have the time. This Fold With Me Fridays is going to be way super serious, and I'm so sorry. I'm thinking about it, and I have been, sorry, my throat is so dry. I have been debating on whether to post this video, actually for months, and this is actually a secret that I have only told 2 living souls in this entire world, and one of them is my husband, and the other person I don't even talk to anymore. So when I got to thinking about that, and I got to thinking about what a shame it is that I shared this in-depth secret of my life with someone who, that's a whole nother subject, but it just did not work out at all, and we're no longer friends. What a shame it was that I shared that in-depth thing about myself, and I exposed that of myself to someone who I no longer trust. I just got to thinking what a shame that is, and then I started thinking, you know what, if I can share it with someone, and someone out there knows that I don't trust, then I can share it with other people, and maybe it won't come back void, you know what I mean? Maybe it won't come back as happening for no reason. Maybe it could help somebody. Maybe when I send this out and I let people know what happened and I tell this story, even though it's very, very hard to share, and I'm a very transparent and open person, very much, sometimes too much, but I'm also very guarded and private about something that affected only me. So if it just affected me and it hurt me, I don't feel it necessary to share, because I don't want anyone's pity. I don't like for people to feel sorry for me or feel like they are obligated to tell me that they're sorry for what I went. I don't like any of that. I just go through it myself, put my big girl panties on, and just do the dang thing and get it over with, and then it's done. I don't like to talk about it and share how it affected me and be whiny or dramatic or any of that. So that's why I keep it guarded. But I feel like this is necessary to share. This is something that my family doesn't even know. Nobody knows except for my husband. He doesn't even know the in-depth version. He only knows the small gist of it. I wrapped it in a pretty package for him so he could comprehend it, and it wouldn't hurt him, you know, because that's what you do. You protect people you love. But I don't even know if I can fold clothes and talk about this. I really don't. Anyway, you're probably like wondering what the heck I'm talking about. What is it? We're dying to know. A few years ago, it was before I was pregnant with Killian. It was before that. So I guess, I don't know, 3 years ago, 3.5, something like that. And maybe closer to 4. I can't remember. My husband probably knows better than me, because he keeps up with this, with time frames better than I do. But you would think I would know. I feel like I have to give you a little bit of a backstory, okay? We had Tristan. I can't even remember how old Tristan was. So I think Tristan was about 2. He was about Killian's age, actually. So something around there. A little bit older than him, and we were broke, and I mean broke all the time, stressed out financially, I wouldn't say horribly broke, but not to the point where you pay your bills and you don't have to worry when you go to the grocery store. We weren't there. We paid our bills and then hoped that we had enough for the next paycheck. We lived paycheck to paycheck just like most people, but it was worse than that, so we were stressed all the time. My husband did work for a car dealership, but they were doing very badly, and they weren't doing well at all, and they actually closed and then reopened later, so that's how bad they were doing. Business was just not good there, and that happens, but it was bad, and I worked full-time, 40 plus hours a week at a department store. I'm not going to name the one, but I worked there, And I had worked my butt off there. I worked really hard. I loved my job. I was a manager there. I worked really, really hard, and I just wanted to be promoted so badly. I wanted that for my family. I worked in retail for a long number of years, and I just wanted my hard work to go somewhere. And so I worked hard for it, and I had been recognized on a district level, on a regional level. Things had been said about me, comments had been made, promises had been made for my promotion, and I was so excited about it. I worked really weird hours. Sometimes I would work until 1 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes I would get up and go into work at 4 in the morning. And all in between, I worked a lot of hours and crazy hours, and that was okay with me. It pained me because I was away from Tristan a lot. It wasn't like it is now where I get to see them every single day, and be with them and guide them through every step. I was a working mama, and so I know how that feels. But it was very stressful all the time. Sorry, I thought I heard Killian. It was very, very stressful. My husband is a take it all on my shoulders and be worried and stressed about everything the whole time. And he doesn't do very well with a lot of stress. And so he tends to shut down. He's much better about it now. But he tends to shut down. That's it. Shut me out, shut down. He's a robot when he comes home. That's it. And that's how he is when he's stressed. It's very difficult for him to open up and let you in. And, this was years ago. So, he didn't work through that yet. So we were in that stage where he was that way, and we barely spoke. We worked conflicting schedules, and so we both worked crazy hours, and we didn't see each other very much. And when we did see each other, we hardly spoke. We were both stressed out a lot, and that's just the way it was. I took care of everything in the house, and the kid. Well, I almost said kids, but we only had the one, and Jaron when he was there, and my husband was just very quiet. He was very stressed and taking all the stress of our family on top of himself, and he didn't want to talk about it. So he was very quiet all the time. Our marriage was not, it wasn't good, okay? He knows that I know it. It just wasn't good. Whether it was my fault or his fault or our fault or whoever's, it was not in a good place, and we've all been there. But it was just in a very bad place, and so I felt very alone all the time. And I'm not a sharer, like I said, with my own feelings, so it was hard for me. And so, with all of that happening, like I said, I am a sharer, but not when it comes to my real deep down feelings. So I shared about my frustrations, my husband and blah, blah, blah. It was normal gossipy wife gossiping to her friends at work about her husband who doesn't talk to her and doesn't listen and doesn't this. But the whole time I didn't realize that somebody else was listening. Not my friends in the office, but somebody entirely different, someone whose intentions for me were not to just help and be someone to vent to. It was something completely different. And so my boss at the time was a male, and advances were made. At first it was very subtle. I didn't really, it's not that I didn't pick up on it, I'm not stupid, but I didn't want to pick up on it. I didn't want to admit that it was happening. I kind of brushed it off to the side and pretended like, no, that's not really what it is. It's just joking around. It's just, office humor that's going a little bit across the line. It'll be fine. I even made a lot of comments to my coworkers about, I really do need to fold this laundry, y'all, about he's after me, because they would be like, he's after you, and I'd be like, yeah, he really is after me. No, he really is. No, seriously. And it was just laughed off, and nobody really got it, but I was trying to, help, and nobody really got those cries for help, and so I thought, well, if they're not making a big deal out of it, then it must be okay, and I'm making a big deal out of nothing, and it's fine. And then one day I was called into his office, and which was not uncommon. We got chewed out a lot. It was always a complaint, never a positive, always a negative. And so I was like, oh, great. So I'm going into the office, and I'm not going to be graphic, but advances were made. No was not taken for an answer. And horrible things happened to me that shouldn't happen to anybody. And again, I'm not going to be graphic. I don't want to disturb anybody by watching this, but it was awful, and I was completely blown away. It felt like it was not me. It was not my body. It wasn't really real life. It wasn't happening to me, so I didn't know what to do. It's like, you think you know how you're going to react in that sort of situation, but when you get into the situation, you don't know what to do. You don't react the way that you thought you would. And so I didn't scream or say anything or do any of the things that you think you're going to do if you're put in that situation. I didn't do it. I was quiet. I was scared. I was, like I said, completely blown away. It felt like it wasn't me. It wasn't happening to me. This is a movie. This is a nightmare. I'm going to wake up and it's going to be over, kind of thing. And it wasn't. And it was stopped before it ended. I'll just say that. I'm trying not to be graphic. I'm trying to say this in a way that's not terrible. It was stopped before it was ended, and it was made like I was the one who was making the advances, and I wasn't. And it was made out like it was me, so I should feel bad, and we shouldn't be doing this. Oh my gosh, we shouldn't be doing this. Like, no duh. Like, I don't know. I was confused. I was completely blown away, and I left. I was in such a crazy mental state of mind where I was stressed all the time, and everything was on top of me all the time. I felt very emotionally mixed up and broken, that I left out of there thinking, is there something I did? I mean, did I do something that I didn't realize? I mean, is this something that I brought on myself? Like, did I do something I didn't know? I mean, this is my fault. Oh my God, this is my fault. And I felt bad because I felt like it was my fault. That was how it was made out to be. And I left questioning, like, oh, is this my fault? It was not the first time it happened. I mean, the last time it happened, it wasn't the last time. It happened again and again. And all I can tell you is to explain this next part is that I wanted to be in control of the situation. I didn't feel like I could tell anybody. My husband and I weren't speaking hardly at all. I felt like if I told him, I questioned, number one, will he believe me, or will he think that it was me? Will he think that I did this on purpose, that this was welcomed? Will he believe that it wasn't? And then over time, as days went by, a week, whatever, weeks, I thought, will he believe me? Because will he wonder, why have you not told me already? Like, why did you not tell me from the beginning? And then it's classic rape victim. And I know that's a harsh word, but that it is what it is. It's a classic rape victim syndrome. I mean, when you start thinking this and you blame yourself and all of these things are going on. And I was confronted by this person every single day. He started revolving his schedule around mine, so he was always there with me. It was scary. I wanted that promotion. I worked really hard for it. I wanted it for my family. I wanted it for the stress level. I wanted it. Hey, hold on, baby. Hold on, guys. Okay, sorry. He wanted a snack, and it's not exactly a child-friendly subject. So anyway, I was worried, number one, about that, about him believing me, and number two, I was worried that he would be angry and do something that would put us in jeopardy. And like I was saying, I worked really hard for that promotion. I wanted it for my family, for the stress level, to better my family. Like, I wanted it for him, I wanted it for us, and so I felt like, what am I supposed to do? If I told anyone in the store, in the company, corporate, everyone was going to know. It's just the way it works. And I know that some of you will probably be like, no, you could have done. I was scared to do anything. I didn't really know what to do about it. And in my mind, because of the way he had acted about it from the beginning, and because of the state that I was in, mentally, with all of the stress and all of the things happening in my life, I thought it was my fault. I thought, did you ask for this? Maybe you did. Maybe you totally did. And so I started to own that. So after a lot of times of it being forced, of me being held down or pushed down or slammed down or locked in a room, or whatever the case may be, I started to just own it and just become numb to the fact, well, whatever, this is what it is. Now I'm in an affair. It's just an affair. I didn't want to admit to myself that I was being mistreated or hurt. I wanted to pretend that it was an affair and that it was okay, that this was just the way it was. I was doing this. It was my choice. I was doing it. So I started interacting. After a few times of it happening by force, I just started interacting with him. So he would text me and I would text back. At first, it was just because I was afraid that if I didn't, what would he do? So I just went along with it. But then after that, I was like, you know what? I'm just owning it. Look at what you've done. Look how many times this has happened. You've done this. It is what it is. You can't tell anybody now, so you might as well just go along with it. These are the things that I was thinking in my mind. So I started interacting with him through text message. He would text message me all the time, constant. When I was with my husband, when I wasn't, it was a game. And I pretended that I was fine, that was the way it was, that I had chosen it, and that it was a full-blown affair and it was fine. As far as the sexual aspects of it, I never just went along with that and acted like it was fine. In talking to him, I did. But when it came down to it, I was just zoning out. And to be honest, after a while, I wanted the interaction because I was lonely anyway, right? So you must have chosen this because you were lonely, and he picked up on that, and it is your fault. So, you know what? At least he's talking to you. At least you have someone to talk to. And that was in my mind. So I accepted it as what it was. I accepted it as my fault, that it was an affair that I had chosen from the beginning, and this wasn't really happening to me. And to look back now, I feel so sorry for that girl that was so twisted and messed up that she really thought that was her fault, that didn't pray. And I would pray hard. I would go to the altar every Sunday and pray, Lord God, just take this from me, close that door, get him out of there, do whatever you have to do to make this stop happening. So there were times that I admitted to myself that I didn't want it, that it wasn't it, that I just wanted out, this was horrible and it was happening to me. But there were other times when I just pretended like it was fine. And then my husband started to pick up on weird things. We started fighting a lot more. It was even more quiet between us. It just wasn't great. And he started to pick up on little things here and there because he's very smart and he knows me very well. And he started to pick up on things that just weren't right. And so when that happened, he ended up doing some detective work on my phone, and he found a lot of the things that had corresponded between the two of us. And he confronted me about it. This part of the story is already 20 minutes into this video, so this part of the story is super long. I'm going to kind of rush through some of it, but he found out about it and was willing to work things out. I admitted to it as an affair. I didn't tell him anything else because at this point, again, it's the same problem as the very beginning. Number one, he's not going to believe me. He sees these text messages. He's not going to believe that it was ever something other than this. This is what he sees. It is in his face. He is not going to believe that it's anything other than what he can see in black and white. He's never going to believe it. Number two, what is he going to do if Killian just woke up? What is he going to do if he does believe me? That's going to get him in trouble and ruin all of our lives. Ruin the lives of this baby that we have. Ruin everything. what is he going to do that's going to mess everything up even worse? So instead of making it worse, I'm just going to stick to the story, and it's going to be fine. I'm going to take the consequences, and it's better for everybody if I do. So that's going to be what it is. So that's what I did. He told my family. He told my friends. He told everybody I knew. He was hurt and in a bad place. He let it all out, and my family knew. They thought I was a bad person. They thought I had done all of these things, and they still don't know to this day any other way. They don't know otherwise. I just haven't told them, but they didn't know. So I had to deal with all of those consequences. I had to deal with him not trusting me and watching every move I made, when I was relieved because it was over, and I was relieved because it was done. There's a lot more to the story where he wouldn't leave me alone, and Joshua really wanted me to stay there because I had worked so hard, and it was only like 2 months away from my promotion, and I would have gotten out of there to begin anyway, and he wanted me to stay, but he wouldn't leave me alone, and things were progressing in a horrible way, and it was getting worse, and all of these things were happening, and since it was taken by force to begin with, no wasn't going to be the answer. You know what I mean? It wasn't an affair. So it wasn't going to be like I ended the affair and then it was over. No wasn't taken as an answer anyway. So, of course that wasn't a good situation for me to go back to. So, anyway, it took a really long time to rebuild my marriage and hold on. So, sorry, somebody woke up in a really bad mood. It took a really long time for us to get over all of it. I wish that I would have just told the truth after everything had died down, so that we would have gotten over it and I would have gotten over it correctly, but I was still processing things and working through things on my own. So I had to work through it on my own before I could share it. It has been, 3+ years, and I just now have shared with him what really happened. So he was, of course, blown away. He didn't really know how to handle it at this point. It's been a long time. But I didn't want to bring more pain to him than was necessary. Especially because I was punished for something I didn't do, basically, and I had to go through that punishment for a very long time, and the process and consequences of that punishment were a long process. So I didn't want to hurt him by telling him, but it was necessary to do, so I did. I still haven't shared it with my family. I just let it go, and I don't know if I will. I don't know. Hopefully, I don't know if they watch my videos, but if they do, I'm sorry you had to hear it like this. I will be willing to talk to you about it if you want. But yeah, I don't share it so you can feel sorry for me or so you can be angry, or I don't claim to have the same stories everybody else or have it as bad as other people had it, or I don't claim anything. I just know that this is what happened to me. This is how it happened. I want to share it so that if you are going through the same thing, if you're in the same kind of situation and you don't know who to turn to, if you're blaming yourself and you shouldn't be, and you haven't worked through that process of realizing it is not your fault, that's why I'm sharing this. So that somebody somewhere who is going through it, has gone through it, or think they might be about to go through it, can get help and can know that they're not the only ones who goes through something like this. That it's okay. It is not you. It's not your fault. And even though decisions were made on my part that I wish I could change, and I feel like mistakes happened on my part, and I made a lot of mistakes I wish I wouldn't have made, bad decisions I wish I wouldn't have made because of it, your story's not over. It's not over. Now we have not one, but 2 beautiful, beautiful babies. Beautiful babies. Trying children, but beautiful, beautiful babies. And we're talking about maybe having a third, giving that girl just one final try. We are better than we have ever been, closer than we've ever been. We notice signs. Hey, this is not okay. You're not communicating, you're not talking, this is not okay. We need to fix this. You learn in a marriage, and this was a horrible thing that we went through. And I'm sorry if my rocking is driving you nuts. He's so irritable. This is a horrible thing that we went through, but you know what? If it can help somebody else, it was worth it. It was worth it. If it can help anybody else, even one person, it was worth it. If me sharing this, it was worth it. And so I wanted to share it with you. I know that now, from now on, Fold With Me Fridays, no secret I can tell can be this dramatic or big. No secret is this large, so don't expect them to get bigger as I go. He's like, who are you talking to? Who are you talking to? But I felt like I needed to share it. And so I hope that you enjoyed this video, not as a fun video sort of way, but just as a share of my story. I hope that it helped you better get to know me. And I mean, in true creative chaos fashion, a child's interrupted in a horrible way. In a very serious video, because that's what happens on this channel. So maybe that lightened the mood a little bit. But know that this is not a story of tragedy or sadness, but this is a story of victory. This is a victory story. This is a story that shows that bad things can happen and you can work through it, and he can work it to your good. And he can. So, anyways, I'm going to let you guys go and finish with this and try to finish folding these clothes. I didn't do much folding in this video, but I again hope that this helps someone somewhere. I hope that you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you guys in the next Fold With Me Friday for another dirty little secret. Bye, guys.